I built that first machine in my apartment in East Vancouver. Shortly after that, I was evicted. You're not supposed to build desalination plants inside apartments in East Vancouver, especially wood frame buildings. When we first entered the New Ventures BC competition, we weren't incorporated. We had this thing bolted to a piece of plywood. Halfway through the competition, a few people started to whisper us, hey, you better incorporate and get business cards. You may actually win this thing. So we did quite well. We won the competition. That gave us our first slug of $100,000. Josh and I both quit our jobs, took our life savings, and piled it into Saltworks. $9 billion was spent last year putting water in trucks, driving it to holes, and pumping it down holes. So if you're an industrial enterprise such as an oil and gas company, or a landfill that has polluted water, or an industry that can't release it to the environment, release it to the sewer, you either have to build a big pond and put it in the pond, or put it in a truck. And it's very high cost. It's about $150 a ton to do so, and very high greenhouse gas impacts. We can treat it on site for $20 to $30 a ton. They're paying $150. So they profit on that delta. In addition, there's less trucks on the roads around their communities, and GHGs are reduced. So even though we're a water company, we're a GHG reduction company. These are some of our customers, a lot of the big oil and gas and mining companies. We sold 4 machines to NASA. We may see it fly on the space station one day. That's all about deep space travel, going to Mars. You can imagine there's only one water source when you're on a spaceship. And so we help NASA work on how to desalt it. Most of our customers are American. Most of our work is in the USA, some in Australia, some in Mexico, very little in Canada. The same waters exist in Canada. We have garbage dumps, we have oil and gas, we just choose to do less about it. These are the products that we make, different products, multiple product lines. We're a membrane company. We make an advanced material, but we're also an evaporator company. We do stuff without membranes. And we package them in different ways. The membrane's really our future. That's what's going to turn us into a billion-dollar company. Because what's kind of cool about it is you can manipulate chemistry and change chemistry. To give you an example, imagine you owned a seawater desalination plant, of which there's many in the world. And imagine it's just your average city-scale seawater plant. $3 billion a year of magnesium leaves the tailpipe of that plant as a dissolved ion. Imagine if you could just grab that magnesium and refine it. So basically putting mines on the tailpipes of desalination plants. Our shareholders are our customers. This has been part of our story, and we can talk about this in terms of Canada. We've avoided venture capital. We haven't taken any venture capital. It's not a good fit for building a big enterprise in Canada, and we can peel the layers back on that. So our customers are our shareholders. They invested, their pitch to us was, we want robust, reliable technology to maintain our consent to operate for the next 20 years. ConocoPhillips literally said to us after they invested, we don't care about the $2.5 million. Solve our $4 billion problem. Our future, it's all about growth. It's about continued innovation. And it's about an IPO. It's not about an acquisition. And so, VCs don't really like to hear that. It's because we want to remain in Canada, and I'd like to remain on the team and like to keep doing this. I'm not ready to retire. So that's where we're going. The 5 things that I learned since the MBA. Number 1, leadership. In times of crises and challenge, that's when you can really pull people together. So cherishing those moments, cherishing the challenge and bringing the team together, and also setting the pace. So I start my work week every Sunday night, and everybody gets an update, including my board of directors, in their mailbox on where we're going, what the priorities are. So being the pace car. Probably the best and the worst things I've done with Saltworks during its existence are hiring. Some of our excellent people who are now running the company, we hired right out of university. They were the youngsters. And they've grown up with the company, and they're now our directors and vice president level. But I also listened to investors who said, you need some gray hair. You need the resumes. You need the contacts. And we did that. We hired them. We fired both of them. Two executives. It didn't work out. Another one being playing the long game, especially in clean tech. It takes time to develop solid, robust technology, to pilot it, to get it into the customer's hands, to build that customer acceptance, especially with highly conservative companies, such as the oil and gas industry, the mining industry. The benefit is it takes time for anybody to dislodge you. The other one was listening to customers. Whenever we heard a problem, it was usually an opportunity. In some cases, it would turn into a patent and a new product line. And not going to them to pitch a technological solution, going to them and talking to them and understanding where their challenges are. How could we possibly contribute to it? And then innovation, which is really the lifeblood of the company. So understanding which innovations to feed, which ones to milk. Right now we're in the milking stage of our salt maker. Excellent innovation, providing lots of cash flow to the company, and then also which ones to kill. And the same goes for customer leads. It was a big lesson I learned, knowing when to stop wasting time on certain customer leads. The topic of the evening, national champion building in Canada. So I think we have a lot of the fundamental ingredients in place. We have an excellent education system. I would hope that we continue to encourage enterprise. New Ventures BC is an excellent example of encouraging enterprise. Another one, Chile, was offering startup visas to people who had innovation ideas. They could get a visa and a $40,000 cash injection. Although we have a good angel and VC community in British Columbia, it's also what's holding us back from building large, staying companies, in my opinion. We have angel investors, they've been excellent. They're always the ones who are asking about the exit. When are they going to get their money back? You talk to venture capitalists, it's about the hockey stick and how quick the returns can come, versus about building a solid industrial enterprise that has staying power. I also think that Canadians and Vancouverites, and I'm being a little bit negative here, we're a bit drunk on who we can attract. We can attract Sony, we can attract Facebook. Why do we need to bring in the foreign companies to build these innovation centers? Yes, we're a beautiful place. Yes, we have lots of smart people. Why can't we build it from within? And that's the sort of psyche and mentality that happens in Canada. You know, have big partners, to have venture capital backing, to sell out to a large company, that's what we consider success, rather than growing a stable, solid firm that can provide long-term jobs for Canadians. And the other thing where we differ from Americans is how we all approach failure. And again, I'm kind of slagging Canada a bit, but to cherish failure, to cherish those who go out there and try. Policy, copy BC. BC's doing a number of things very well. New Ventures BC. That system works. I can honestly say that Josh and I would not have founded Saltworks if it was not for New Ventures BC. We have a beautiful low tax rate here. We're a wonderful place to live. I think federally we should emulate and copy New Ventures BC. And the other thing is we invest too heavily in science projects, not enough in industrialization. It's very easy for Saltworks to go out and get funding for yet another innovation, maybe sort it out in the lab and then take it out and do one pilot, but not for industrialization. The example I like to point to is Tesla. What really propelled them, the big slug of wind in their sails, was a $450 million repayable loan from the US Department of Energy. That's how they industrialized the Tesla vehicle. Now, when you talk to Canadians and Canadian policymakers about doing that, they say, well, we've got this thing called the WTO. Right? And they're worried about the WTO. And so we're really good at science projects. We're excellent at that sort of innovation. And some entrepreneurs, we can grow, and we've had offers too. You can grow your company to 20, 30 million, sell out, retire with 10 million, you're done. Rather than encouraging that industrialization, build factories, grow staff, grow a solid long-term industrial enterprise.